Hare Krishna, Dhanraj. Okay,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat
a
Pranam.
blissful morning to all of you. And let's begin.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.
Okay. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all to today's class on Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are entering the 16th chapter. How Parikshit Maharaj punishes Kali. Okay. So now let's look at the prelude. Just a second. Get some water for me. Hot water. Yeah. Okay. So now we saw the story of Yudhishthir um, renouncing his kingdom, renouncing all his activities. Then he enthroned two personalities, right? So one was in Mathura,
Vajranabha and Parikshit.
and Parikshit Maharaj. Okay. So Parikshit was enthroned in Hastinapur. Yeah. So now in this entire episode, if you see, yeah. So you see, when time comes, right, people pass the baton. And when when Yudhishthir saw the time has come that he has to depart, he immediately gave the next in the line the throne, the responsibilities, and he just moved on. Right? So this is one of the aspects of life that we have to understand. There is every role that each one of us play. What is called as prescribed duties for a period of time. When the time has come, we have to let go of our prescribed duties and focus only on remembrance of the Lord and focus on our deep devotion to the Lord and complete this journey of human life. If you don't do these practices, of course, you can see how great personalities like Yudhishthir and many stories that we've read, all of them are demonstrating this. This is very important. So, Prabhupada says that each one of us own our airplane. right? Someone can give us a bottle of water, but it's our duty to drink that water. He cannot take that water and pour into our mouth. So, the Guru can take you to the aspect of bhakti, but beyond a point, you see, it becomes our responsibility to practice bhakti. It is just you and your consciousness. It is just you and your activities and nothing else. So that is very, very important. That's what is being demonstrated by great personalities. And Prabhupada institutionalizing these things, he created the Varnashrama system. Of course, he could not establish it in a full manner, but he said it is left to my disciples to establish it. So, Prabhupada says you have to man your airplane. You own your airplane, you have to ride it. We cannot keep expecting, okay, I have my wealth, I have my family, I have my lawyers, doctors, children, they'll protect nothing. Right? So it all depends on how we maneuver our devotional life. We have to blame ourselves for the outcome of everyday's happenings. This is important to understand. I remember a story about a devotee sharing this. Just want to share this here. See, I know of this devotee who practiced Krishna conscious very well for many years, chanting, sadhana, everything did very systematically. And one day he went to buy some things for the ashram. He and another co-devotee, they went to the ashram, went outside to buy some stuff for the ashram. And after all the shopping was done, it became a little bit late. So, and this ashram was located in a remote location. So, this other devotee was driving a little bit fast. And when you drive fast, you're under a risk. And somehow there was a stone or something like that that toppled the auto. And he went and rammed himself on a tree. And then the two devotees were thrown away out of the auto. One fell the other direction, another fell another direction. Both were actually both were hurt very badly. So now the point to understand is the state of consciousness of this devotee, whom I am referring to as my friend. So this devotee was chanting Narsimha prayers because it was late in the evening and it was dark. He was continuously chanting Narsimha prayers. But when that state of accident happened, when he was thrown out, he was not thinking of Krishna or his prayers. He immediately was thinking, how do I take all these things to the ashram because people will be waiting? Or how do I settle my money with the accounts department? The money is with me. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, my leg is paining. Am I alive or not? Where am I? So, these were the state of thoughts of this devotee. Now, later on, he's sharing his experience, and after hearing experience, I'm just trying to wonder what will happen to us at the later part of life is clearly left to Krishna. Of course, this devotee did not die, he's fine now. He's clearly left to Krishna. Whatever our practices throughout our life, whatever behavior that we demonstrated with other Vaishnavas, whatever etiquette and integrity that we practiced and followed, is what will speak for us when the time comes. So this is very important to understand. And Yudhishthira realizes all these things about the past facts. We read through slokas where Arjuna is remembering the past actions of his life, where Lord Krishna favorably played a role, protected him, nurtured him. Then he's offering his, ecstatic, not ecstatic, he's, loving separation from the Lord. And he's crying. So you can see many of these things that we saw in preparedness. So in this connection, I was remembering a sloka. I'll share the sloka for you. And I'll just load the sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, the devotee was doing this doership. He had doership mentality, Prabhu. He should have left it to Krishna.
No, the point was it is not about that mentality. It is that state of mind during a shock or an event which has caused unplanned. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
What will be the state of mind of ours? That is the point of discussion here. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I forgot the actual purport. What he says is that the life is normal for in due course. Everything is fine. Everything seems to be comfortable. And Krishna creates a catastrophe in everyone's life. And through the catastrophe, Krishna ends his journey of life. Now, when he ends the journey of life, whatever devotion practices one has done, that will become the next destiny of his life. That's what the Lord says. The Lord says, by my own will, I create a catastrophe in the life of a person. He may be a devotee or a non-devotee, both. A non-devotee, through the catastrophe, he may be bewildered and he may aghast and then he may take a different destination of life. A devotee, he is fearless. He knows that, okay, I'm practicing, I don't care whether I live or die. Krishna will take care of me. So his fearlessness will give him a different destination. That's the point here.
Yes, thank
It is
you.
about how we respond to a sudden situation. Okay. So now look at this sloka, which I thought I'll share. Jnane prayasham udapasha namante eva jivanti mukaritam bhavadyavartham stane sthita shruti gatam tanuvan manobir. This is the key line, okay? Stane sthita shruti gatam tanuvan manobir yaprayasho jitajit apyasi taistrilokyam.
Have you shared it, Prabhu? We cannot see.
Cannot see the.
You're not able to see it?
No, Prabhu.
Oh, I shared something else then. Okay. Able to see now?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
This is a sloka. Okay, good. Now, see, look at the keyword here. Sthane stitaha shruti gatam tanuvar manobir. So what does it say? It says, all of us have our prescribed duties to take care. After being born in this material world, the material energy is also part of Krishna's creation. We have prescribed duties. But one needs to be intelligently managing the prescribed duties along with the spiritual life. We cannot give excuses because no tide will wait for us. No time and tide will wait for us. It keeps on going ahead with its activities. Kala Chakra keeps moving. It doesn't wait. Oh, Prabhuji, I'm still not ready. Oh, Suryadev, I'm still not ready. Please don't come up now. I need another 30 minutes, then you can come up. It cannot wait. It cannot wait for us. No time and tide can wait for us. It moves on. So it's important for us to understand this and then catch up at the right time. When the opportunity is favorable, we have to do it. So hence it says, the sloka says, one needs to balance the activities of prescribed duties and his spiritual practices. And when time is ready, Krishna will reveal the truth. Okay. So look at this sloka translation. Very beautiful also. Very beautiful this is. Translation. Those who even while remaining situated in their established social positions, your social positions are, you're saying, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a lawyer, whatever I am positioned at, as a family man, as a grahastha, responsible for my parents, my wife, my children, my uncle, aunt, whoever it may be. Throw away the speculative process of speculative knowledge with their body, words, and mind. Offer all respects to descriptions of your personalities and activities. Dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship. Although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within this three world. The key word is this: although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within these three worlds. So wherever you are, whatever position you are, you may be even Brahmaji, you may be even the last soul in the Patal Lokas. You cannot conquer the Lord. Conquer the Lord here does not mean you go defeat him. It means win the heart of the Lord. It is impossible by any of the activities on the platform of Dharma, Artha and Kama Moksha. So, you have to remove away all speculation from your mind. Oh, should I do this? Can I postpone this? I will come next Sunday. I'll come next Saturday. No, I'm having body pain. No, someone is not permitting me. Oh, I have financial problems. No. Ahaituki apratihata. Bhakti is beyond these things. So hence, here Prabhupada writes this word, udapasya. What does he say? Here the word udapasya clearly indicates that one should not even slightly endeavor to understand absolute truth by process of mental speculation. You cannot speculate in your mind. Oh, ishtu madidre saku of devotion. Oh, ee madidre saku. No. Go back what the acharyas have said. Go back all the shastric engineering what they have said. Straight away fall into it. Straight away offer dandavats. That is the key. So, by doing that, our understanding of the Lord will become perfect over a period of time, slowly. Otherwise, the imperfection will be very strong. So, and look at this sloka. This 14, that is 14.3. This is 14.6. Now, these people who are speculators, who will say, okay, I will read my own, I will not connect with devotees, I will do my own way of thinking. What happens to them? Look at this, look, very beautiful. It says, Tatapi bhuman mahima gunasyate vibodum arhati amalantur atmabihi avikriyat swanubhavat arupato hi ananya bodhayatmaya na chanyanta. Look at the translation. It says, non-devotees, however, cannot realize your personal feature. Impossible. Now you ask a question, are you practicing devotion or not? If you're not practicing devotion, if you're cultivating your subtle body or your gross body, you're not practicing devotion. You're practicing something on the material plane. Okay, and he says, for such people, who are not practicing devotion properly, what is the result? He says, nevertheless, it may be possible for them to realize your expansion as impersonal supreme. He'll say, Prabhu, God is everywhere. Oh, it's all Brahman. Whatever they realize in their heart, they'll say, okay, I'll help the poor. I'll do this. That's what they will do. So, it is important to do material distinctions. If you cannot do material distinctions, then what will happen? We will confuse what is spiritual life. So that's why when we go through these slokas, they're very important. Why did Yudhishthira do? Why did Yudhishthira not do what we are speculating upon? That's the question we should ask. Why Yudhishthira could have continued? He could have ruled for 100 more years. He was strong enough. He had the opulence, he had intelligence, everything was fine. It is not that his body was deceased. No, it was not true. Right? So when time is conducive, when everything you feel is all fine, absolutely fine, that is called conducive time. Take up Krishna consciousness seriously. Don't miss it. That's the point of our understanding that Bhagavatam is trying to teach us. So now coming to this chapter, Maharaj Parikshit. So now you see, Sudha Goswami was asked about questions about Parikshit Maharaj in the 4th chapter of Canto 1. In the 4th chapter, what did they ask? They asked 4 questions. Okay, who's Parikshit? What is the what are the events that led to the birth of Parikshit Maharaj? Okay, so first question was events that led to the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. Then Parikshit Maharaj birth itself that we read. Ashwatthama firing the arrow and then Krishna going protecting him, the lineage of Parikshit, all these things we read. Now the second part is the activities of Parikshit Maharaj. Okay, what all did he do? And that's what we're going to see in this chapter mostly. Then they asked 2 more questions. What are 2 more questions? Well, how did he renounce? How did Parikshit Maharaj renounce his life and how did he die? So the 4 questions, right? Set of events that led to the appearance or the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. And once Parikshit Maharaj was born, Yudhishthira Maharaj calls the astrologer, the pujari, and checks his horoscope. When he was completely convinced about the glories of Parikshit Maharaj, because the constellation arrangement happened so wonderfully by the mercy of the Lord, the Parikshit Maharaj was not an ordinary soul. When he was convinced, then he knew that he can enthrone him. Because he had those qualities, he had the abilities, and he was a great king, a king of dharmic, and who will rule the world. So, Yudhishthira was ready. Once the situation was conducive, again see the word, when the situation was conducive, he let go of all his positions. It is not that an aghast situation has to happen and forcefully take it away. That is not good for us. This is the point to conclude. Now, before we start, we have to understand one important aspect, the dimension of devotion. Okay, so now let's look at 2 events in the life of Parikshit Maharaj. The first event is Parikshit Maharaj, when he was in the womb, there was danger because of Brahmastra. Krishna, he went, he personally protected him. You have to mute. Yeah. So, Krishna personally protected Parikshit Maharaj. Right? So, otherwise, he would have been killed by Brahmastra in the womb of Mother Uttara. Okay. Now, in the later part of his life, when he was cursed by the Brahmana boy, he was given just 7 days to die. Now, at that time, you see, Krishna did not come and protect his curse. Nor Parikshit Maharaj using his own intelligence. He was very capable of protecting himself from the curse. Nor he did not use it. He understood that as inspired by the Lord, plan of the Lord, that this curse is awarded to him. So what I'm supposed to do now? And Parikshit Maharaj played the role, demonstrating to the whole world the importance of Shravanam. And what did he do? He realized Krishna and he came under the realm and the shelter of Krishna by the process of devotion. And he liberated himself. So you see, in the first situation, Krishna personally protected him. In second situation, Krishna indirectly protected him. And that's what we have to understand. The same events will lead in our life too. And we have to get ready for those. That's what Bhagavatham is teaching us. Okay? Okay, so now let's read the sloka now. 16. Any questions so far in the preset of starting to read Parikshit Maharaj chastising Kali?
Did he not ask Bhima or Arjuna to take off? Why did he not coronate them? He wanted all of them to go with him.
Who? Yudhishthira.
Yes.
No, you always coronate the next in the line, next generation. You don't coronate your brothers or anything like that. That is the Vedic injunction. Okay? Because generally, a king and his brothers will be of similar age. Maybe some age here and there of difference. So everyone will go through the same process of renunciation, process of death and things like that. So what's the point? So the next in generation, next in the line, who can take up this process, that they will only get coronated. That is always the rule, unless an exception comes. For example, in case of Pandavas, right? When Pandu Maharaj had the difficulty, it was circumstantial situation that Dhritarashtra was coronated back. Okay, otherwise Dhritarashtra was no eligible king yet to be coronated. So those are exceptions. Exceptions cannot become the guidebook. The standard becomes the guidebook.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in the first time, that is, Lord protected Parikshit Maharaj in the womb, first time, Prabhu.
Yes.
Second time, how we protected, can you repeat, Prabhu? How the Lord protected?
Okay, so now what happened? When the curse news was delivered to him, the Lord gave him the intelligence. What intelligence? To ask questions, to inquire the question. No, he went and asked the question. He went and asked the questions to the sages. What should be the role of a person while he is living, and what should be the role and activities of a person at the time of death? The Lord gives him the intelligence to ask that question. Now, when that question was asked to all the learned brahmanas and scholars, they said, we are not capable of answering that. Why? Because Lord clearly made the arrangement of Sukadeva Goswami to come and speak. Now, we read the life of Sukadeva Goswami. Does he live in the kingdom? No. Does he live among the grahasthas? No. He lives in secluded place. His association time with a grahastha or any personality on a kingly platform or anything is not less than one muhurta, just all. Maximum that was the association time. Now, so how did Sukadeva Goswami come into the scene? Inspired by the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami comes to answer these two questions that Parikshit asks. And what does he deliver? He delivers the love of Godhead. What does love of Godhead do? When you say Sarvadharman Pariktaje Mam Ekam Sharanam Rajat Aham Tom Sharva Papevyo Mokshai Shame, he says Masuchaha. Krishna says Masuchaha. What does Masuchaha means? There is no need to fear. I'm going to protect you fully. So, he encouraged Parikshit to begin the process of surrender by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure devotee. So, Lord protected him. He protected him, he protected his consciousness, and he ensured that his consciousness blossomed towards devotion and delivered him also. So, this is the role that Lord played.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so that's clear to you?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, Parikshit Maharaj is elevated personality, but in first place, why did you disrespect Rishi Sharmaka? Just for giving Bhagavatam to us, or what exactly it is?
So Prabhu, there are 4 classes of men. There is one class is called Brahmana class, and another class is Kshatriya class. Parikshit is a Kshatriya class. What is the consciousness of a Brahmana class? Brahmana class is majorly in mode of goodness or pure goodness and little bit of Rajoguna. That is the nature of the Brahmana class. What's the nature of a Kshatriya class? Predominantly in Rajoguna, with a little mixture of goodness and a little mixture of passion, ignorance. Okay? Predominantly in passion, but a mix of goodness and a little mixture of ignorance. That's the nature of Kshatriyas. Now, even though Kshatriya may have read the scholarly, but they always act under the guidance of a Brahman. Because they are always in goodness or pure goodness. So hence he seeks the shelter of Brahmanas. Okay, Prabhu? Okay. Now let's go forward. Okay, let's read 16.1. Sutta Vacha. Tataha Parikshit Dvijavarya Sikshaya Mahim Mahabhagavata Sashashaha Yata hi sutyam abhijata kovidaha samadhishan vipramahad gunastata. Translation. Sutta Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord under the instruction of the best of the twice born Brahmana. That means under the instruction of great sannyasis, rishis like that. He ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth. So his time of his birth is in 12th chapter. So if you go to 12th chapter, you will see the constellation formation after the birth was done. Yudhishthira immediately calls for the Prohitas and checks his astrologers. So that's what is done. Foretold by the astrologers at the time of his birth. Yeah. Can someone read the purport here?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Full purport Prabhu. Yeah. At the time of Maharaja Parikshit's birth, the expert astrologer Brahmanas foretold some of his qualities. Maharaja Parikshit developed all those qualities, being a great devotee of the Lord. The real qualities is to become a devotee of the Lord, and gradually all the good qualities worthy of possession develop. Maharaja Parikshit was a Maha Bhagavata, or a first-class devotee, who was not who was not only well versed in the science of devotion but also able to convert others to become devotee by his transcendental instructions. Maharaja Parikshit was therefore a devotee of first order, and thus he used to consult great sages and learned Brahmanas who could advise him by the shastras, how to execute the state administration. Such
Pause,
a
pause,
great
Prabhu. Pause, Prabhu. See, Shiv Prasad Prabhu, so here is another answer for you. Maharaj Parikshit was therefore a devotee of the first order, thus used to consult great sages and learned Brahmanas who could advise him by the Shastras how to execute state administration. And this is how a king has to rule. If we rule by our own thought process, he is called as a whimsical king. When he always seeks advice and works under that, he is considered a perfect king. And hence, Bhagavatam is saying, he uses the word such great kings. Okay? Yes, Prabhu, read from such great kings.
Such a great kings were more responsible than modern elected executive heads because they obliged the great authorities by following their instruction left in the Vedic literatures. There was no need for impractical fools to enact daily a new legislation bill and to conveniently alter it again and again to serve some purpose. The rules and
One
regulations.
more thing. Mode of ignorance means continuously changing our decisions is also mode of ignorance. Okay? Mode of resignation is also ignorance. Mode of resignation is also mode of ignorance is also signified by resignation. What is resignation? Given one service. Oh, Prabhu, it's difficult for me. I won't take it. I'll drop it and go away. Or take up a service halfway, drop it and go away. This is also mode of ignorance, right? So these are very important. We'll bring in a rule. Next day, change the rule. 3 days later, again change the rule. Again change. Again change. So this is called mode of ignorance. So Prabhupada never liked all these things. He says, Brahmanical life means think through, act in the mode of goodness, keeping Krishna in the center, and live by it. That is very important. Read, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
The rules and regulations.
The rules and regulations were already set forth by great sages like Manu,
Yajnavalkya.
Yagnavalkya, and Parasara, and other liberated sages. And the enactments were all suitable for all ages in the places. Therefore, the rules and regulations were
Standard.
standard and without flaw or defect. Kings like Maharaja Parikshit had their council of advisors, and all the members of that council were either great sages or brahmanas of the first order. They did not accept any salary, nor had they any necessary for their such salaries. The state would get the best advice without expenditure. They were themselves same.
Samadarshi. Samadarshi means equal vision.
Okay, sorry, bro. They were themselves Samadarshi, equal to everyone, both men and animal. They would not advise the king to give protection to man and instruct him to kill the poor animals. Such counsel means they were not fools or representative to compose a fool's paradise. They were all self-realized souls.
Prabhu, pause here. Now, what's happening in Kali Yuga? See, when did Kali personified began? So, moment the Kurukshetra war was over, somewhere around that time, Kali personified manifested. Okay, around end of after Kurukshetra war, around that period somewhere, the Kali personified manifested. That means Kali personified manifested in Dwapar Yuga in the cusp period. What is the cusp period? Cusp period is crossover time between Dwapar and Kali Yuga. There will be some common time. In that time, the Kali Purusha got manifested. Okay, but during that time, Krishna was still alive. Alive here meaning contextual references. He was still, enacting his pastimes in Dwarka. Okay, so even though Kali was born, he could not exercise any of his powers or influence this world. So he was curtailed. Moment Krishna left the world, right? Kali started to exercise his powers. And you see the first symptoms that you will see. Now, what is the symptom of Kali? Kali means quarrel and disagreement. People will quarrel, they will disagree. Now, this is the first aspect of Kali. Now, when there is quarrel and disagreement, you see, we will never come to conclusion in performing an activity. And even if you do conclude like that, you will see there is a lot of fault finding, there is fights. And this is the nature of Kali Yuga. So people who have taken shelter of the Lord will see they're more pacified and they're calm and gentle because this aspect of Kali and disagreement does not disturb their mind. Why? They are Mahatmanastu Mam Partha, Daivim Prakriti Mashrita. They are in that state. So they will not be disturbed. Now, what's happening in current state? In the time of Parikshit Maharaj, the qualified Brahmanas were the advisors to the rulers. They gave advice which is good for God consciousness. Okay, now what is happening now? The Sudras. The Sudras are denoted by mode of ignorance to the fullness. And they have little bit tinge of passion. That is the quality of Sudras. Now what are you doing? Kali Yuga means the Sudras will become state administrators. They will run the state. Now, instead of a Brahmana running a state, a Sudra will run a state. And what will Sudra bring in? He'll bring in policies and legislatures which are damaging to the society. And they are never, in accordance to the Vedic injunctions. That's why you see there are enough slaughterhouses. That's why you see this Samadarshi, there's equal vision to man and animals never exist. All animals are killed. So you see, when Sudras are brought to state administration, and this is the plan of Kali, you see, the entire set of people suffer from all aspects. Now, movements like ISKCON, there are many movements like this, right? Movements like ISKCON are trying to re-establish God consciousness in different ways. They're trying the level best. Okay, so in the processes, like great generals like Srila Prabhupada have come and they're executing their mission. So that is the situation. That's what you have to understand. Huh? Yes. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. They were all self-realized souls.
Yeah, they were all self-realized souls, and they knew perfectly well how all the living beings in the state would be happy, both in this life and in the next. They were not concerned with the hedonistic philosophy of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. They were philosophers in the real sense, and they knew well what is the mission of human life. Under all these obligations, the advisory council of king would give correct directions, and the king or executive head, being himself a qualified devotee of the Lord, would scrutinizingly follow them for the welfare of the state. The state in these days of Maharaja Yudhishthira or Maharaja Parikshit was a welfare state in the real sense of term because no one was unhappy in that state, be he man or animal. Maharaja Parikshit was an ideal king for a welfare state of the world. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So now this purport establishes the quality of Maharaj Parikshit. So he had all the qualities to be a king. a king with complete knowledge, a king following all the Vedic principles and practices, and the king who followed or implemented those Vedic injunctions and ensured that the people were happy. That means the Brahmanas were given the highest importance, the Sudras were engaged in simple labor work, right? So like that, Maharaj Parikshit became the ideal king of the world. Okay, so this is a conversation between Sutta Goswami and the rishis headed by Shaunaka. Okay, now next 2-3 slokas are very simple slokas. We'll just read the translation and then we'll go to sloka number 4. Okay. King Parikshit married the daughter of King Uttara and begot 4 sons headed by Maharaj Janamejaya. Okay, so that was his first son. And what is his fourth son? The fourth son is not mentioned, I suppose, here. Is it mentioned in the purport? Okay, Janamejaya is also a great king, is mentioned here. Then, okay. So one thing about Janamejaya is, okay, it's here. Mother's name is Airavata and Madravati. No, it's not mentioned, the other sons. Okay, here it is there. 3 other younger brothers named Shrutasena, Ugrasena, Bhimasena. Okay, this is Bhimasena 2. So don't confuse with that other Bhimasena. Right. So like that, there are 4 sons that Parikshit Maharaj had. And Janamejaya was a Rajarishi king. Okay, he was also very famous. He did many things. We will not discuss that now. And when this Takshaka, that bird snake, when it about to come and bite him, he wanted to perform a massive yajna so that all the snakes in this world are killed. And of course, he was eventually stopped for various reasons. He could not complete the yajna. So like that, he was very powerful. Okay.
Prabhu,
Then,
Takshaka means bird snake, Prabhu.
that snake can fly, Prabhu.
That can fly.
Yeah. That snake which came to bite Parikshit Maharaj is a flying snake.
Sorry.
Okay. It not only flying, you can also produce fire from its venom. The venom, see, venom, when it becomes very strong, very intense, is almost like fire. Okay. You can see now, when a snake bite happens to a person, he feels intense burning throughout his body. I don't know if you have experienced by talking to someone. They'll experience intense burning because that poison is like fire. So now this Takshaka's poison was like directly fire coming out of its mouth. That powerful it was. Okay, we'll go to 16. Okay. Maharaj Parikshit, after having selected Kripacharya for guidance as a spiritual master. So Kripacharya is the only one from the Kaurava side of the Mahabharata war, Kurukshetra war, continued to exist. And that Kripacharya, guidance as a spiritual master, performed 3 horse sacrifices on the banks of Ganges. These were executed with sufficient rewards for attendance. And these sacrifices, even the common man could see demigods. Okay. So we'll go to Sloka 4, which is the key. Nijagrahau jasa viraha kalim digvijaye kvachit nripalinga daram shudram ganantam go mitunam pada. Once when Maharaj Parikshit on his way to conquer the world, he saw the master of Kali Yuga, that Kali personified, who was lower than a Sudra. That means, actually the form of Kali is explained in one of the books. One book written by Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, it is there. He writes how Kali Purusha looks like. Very dark and short, and then his facial expression, his bodily expression, so crude it is. And his eyes were swollen and reddish, and like that it is written. I mean, to read the description only, very disturbing it is. That's what he says. Who was lower than a Sudra? That disgusting he was looking like. Disguised as a king and hurting the legs of a cow and bull. What is the Kali doing? He was hitting the legs of cow and bull. The king at once caught hold of him to deal sufficient punishment. Okay, so now there are 2 important questions that needs to be asked. According to Vedic injunction, if anyone found causing any damage to a cow, I'm talking about previous ages, okay, or killing a cow, he cannot be spared and he will be given capital punishment. That was the rule. Just imagine, even if you punish or if you cause damage to the cows, the punishment award was capital punishment. That was injunction in the previous ages. Now see what is injunction. Government is passing legislative bill to create slaughterhouses. Now you see how much fallen we are. Right? So now the sages are very bewildered. They're asking, if the Vedic injunction is capital punishment was mean what? Death, our death sentence. Now, how is that he's only punishing him, but he's not killing Kalipurusha? Is the question now. Parikshit could have killed the Kalipurusha before hurting the cow. Why did he not kill him, but just awarded punishment? Okay, so that is the purport here being asked. Okay, Prabhupada writes this purport very brilliantly. Can we have another devotee? Maybe a Mataji. You can take turns. Mataji can read. Any newcomer Mataji can read? No?
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Okay, Mataji, read.
Purport. The purpose of a king's going out to conquer the world is not for self-aggrandizement.
Aggrandizement.
Maharaja Parikshit went out to conquer the world after his
Ascendance to
the throne, but this was not for the purpose of aggression on the other states. He was the emperor of the world, and all small states were already under his regime. His purpose in going out was to see how things were going on in terms of the godly state. The king, being the representative of the Lord, has to execute the will of the Lord duly. The king, being the representative of the Lord, has to execute the will of the Lord duly. There is no question of self-aggrandizement. Thus, as soon as Maharaja Parikshit saw that a lower class man in the dress of a king was hurting the legs of a cow and a bull, at once he arrested and punished him. The king cannot tolerate insults to the most important animal, the cow, nor can he tolerate disrespect for the most important man, the Brahmana. Human civilization means to advance the cause of Brahminical culture and to maintain it. Cow protection is essential. There is a miracle in milk, for it contains all the necessary vitamins to sustain human physiological conditions for higher achievements. Brahminical culture can advance only when man is educated to develop the qualities of goodness, and for this, there is a prime necessity of food prepared with milk, fruits, and grains. Maharaja Parikshit was astonished to see that a black Shudra, dressed like a ruler, was mistreating a cow, the most important animal in human society. The age of Kali means mismanagement and quarrel. And the root cause of all mismanagement and quarrel is the worthless men with the modes of lower class of men who have no higher ambition in life come to the helm of the state management. Such men at the post of a king are sure to first hurt the cow and the Brahminical culture, thereby pushing all society towards hell. Maharaja Parikshit, trained as he was, got the scent of the root cause of the all quarrel in the world. Thus, he wanted to stop it in the very beginning.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So we discussed many of these points, right? All this time. So this is the quality of Kali Yuga, and once they see a spot, any pillars of religion is being disturbed, they would take action. That was the time of Parikshit Maharaj. Now we don't have any of such situations. Now we have a situation which is very difficult, right? You see, all religiosity are compromised. All aspects of religiosity are compromised. All aspects of Vedic Brahminical culture, cow culture is compromised. So the situation is different here. So now what should be our focus? Our focus is to see how well I am doing my sadhana, how well I am practicing devotion for myself. If you don't practice devotion for yourself is very important, right? So we can quote some Shastric evidence. Shastric evidence are Mother Sita. Okay. So Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravan and she was put in Ashokavan. Now who was there in Ashokavan? Were they devotees? No. They were all other Rakshasas. And Ravana used to visit once a while or very often. That was the state of hers. And it took quite some time before Lord Ram sent Hanuman to search Mother Sita. So what happened to that time? Did Mother Sita lose her consciousness towards Lord Ram? No. Her consciousness, in fact, on Lord Ram increased with separation from him. And she was practicing so wonderfully. So, my point is that the situation now for us is it is not that our Guru is sitting always next to us, or it is not that Krishna is there in front of us all the time. We own our duty towards practice of devotion. Because we don't have such a great setup like what was there during Parikshit Maharaj's time. So we own our responsibility in devotion. We have to take shelter of our mentors or guides or whoever it may be and derive the benefit of it and practice devotion for ourselves. Another example you can take is Rukmini. What did Rukmini do? Rukmini initially heard about the glories of Krishna from Narada. She never saw Krishna at all. But when she made up mind to marry Krishna, there was a time period where, she was tortured by her brother Shishupal and all others to marry Shishupal. And there's nothing else. And that was the situation she was in. But did she yield to that pressure or situation? No. She continued to practice her love for Krishna. She expressed that through her love letter also. And it reached Krishna, then Krishna came and rescued. So this is important for us to understand. Mother Sita continued persistence on devotion. Lord Ram rescued her. Rukmini Devi's continued persistence on devotion made Krishna to appear personally to rescue her. That is the point here to understand. Okay, so are we clear as to what's the situation around us and what are we supposed to do with respect to devotion or to our personal life?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay, good. So now let's move to the next sloka. Okay, 16.5. Shaunaka vacha kasya hetur nijagraha kalim digvijaye nripaha Druddeva chinna driksudra kosau gamya padahanat tat katayatam mahabhaga yadi Krishna katashrayam. Shaunaka Rishi inquired, why did, now after Sutta Goswami tells that, Shaunaka Rishi again is asking the question. Now what question is asking? Okay, all said and done. Now, okay, let's see the question. Why did Maharaj Parikshit simply punish him, not kill him? Since he was the lowest of the Sudras, having dressed as a king and having struck a cow on the leg. Please describe all these incidents if they relate to the topics of Lord Krishna. That is very important. So, generally, we devotees too. We congregate, we associate, we spend time together and things like that. Hardly there are topics and questions of self-realization. How can I grow up in the spiritual ladder? How can I bring changes in my life? What are things I need to do? Even we get into the mode of prajalpa, sitting and discussing topics that are not connected to Krishna. So here, the Acharya is making very clear that the questions of the conversation between Shaunaka Rishi and Sutta Goswami is such that Please describe. I don't know. Some Kali is beating a cow. Looks like some topic of administration, punishment, and things like that. Why should we hear those topics? But however, if there is a connection to Krishna, please describe us. If it's not connection to Krishna, don't even describe us. That is the state of consciousness, right? So it is important to imbibe these finer statements into our heart. Let's read this purport. This purport is very interesting. Can someone read the purport?
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Read, Prabhu.
Purport. Shaunaka and the rishis were astonished to hear that the pious Maharaja Parikshit simply punished the culprit and did not kill him. This suggests that a pious king like Maharaja Parikshit should have at once killed an offender who wanted to cheat the public by dressing like a king and at the same time daring to insult the purest of the animals, a cow. The rishis in those days, however, could not even imagine that in the advanced days of the age of Kali, the lowest of the Shudras will be elected as administrators and will open organized slaughterhouses for killing the cows. Anyway, although hearing about a Shudraka who was a cheat and insulter of a cow was not very interesting to the great rishis, they nevertheless wanted to hear about it to see if the event had any connection with Lord Krishna. They were simply interested in the topics of Lord Krishna, for anything that is dovetailed with the narration of Krishna is worth hearing. There are many topics in Bhagavatam about sociology, politics, economics, cultural affairs, etc. But all of them are in relation with Krishna, and therefore all of them are worth hearing. Krishna is the purifying ingredient in all the matters, and regardless of what they are. In the mundane world, everything is impure due to its being a product of the three mundane qualities. The purifying agent, however, is Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Okay. So, Prabhupada is very clear. If a topic has no connection to Krishna, better not hear, or better not see, better not practice, better not do that. Right? So, it is important how devotees need to check their consciousness. Therefore, yesterday in the class by Tratu Prabhu in Arjun Shaka Prabhu's house, what did he say? He says, the goal of one's life is to develop laulyam for Krishna. One should become like a lunatic to Krishna, nothing else. The same thing. Bhagavatam is continuously propounding the same truth. Okay, any questions on this sloka? Are we good? Okay. So now there is an unanswered question. What is the unanswered question? Why did he only punish the Kali but not kill him, even though it awards capital punishment? So that's what we're going to learn next few slokas. 16.6. Atavashya padamboja makaranda liham satam kim anair ashad alapai ayusho yad ashadbhya. Translation. The devotee of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. What's the use of topic which simply waste one's valuable life? So this particular purport is only focused on the last line of this sloka, which says, Tat katayata mahabaha yadi Krishna katashrayam. To this line of the sloka, Prabhupada is explaining completely that what is the benefit of hearing only topics connected to Krishna, and any topic that is not connected to Krishna is just a simply waste of time. If you go back to the question that was pondering Vyasadeva, where he was saying, I'm not satisfied. Even though I've written Mahabharata, I've written Ramayana, I've written all the Puranas, I wrote the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras, the Vedanta Sutras, the Vedas, the four Vedas, still I'm not satisfied. Right? Such a learned sage, such a learned person. He was not satisfied even after all the literary work. Why? Because he did not position or glorify Krishna topmost in all the works. Hence, he developed Srimad Bhagavatam under the inspiration of Narada ji, which centers around Krishna. And what was the result? He was fully satisfied of creating such a literary work. Right? Now, the point is this: whenever Krishna is the topic, then there is a meaning in it, there is full satisfaction. And it says, the devotees are accustomed to licking, they always take the honey which is available lotus feet of the Lord. That is what will give them nourishment. They're not interested in the nectar from the flowers. The honey that comes out of the lotus feet of the Lord is what they want to hear. Otherwise, they say it's a simply waste of time. How much ever we saw, how much ever we talk, how much ever we do, just a waste of time. Okay? Then we'll go to the next sloka. Shudrayusham nirnamanga matyanamritam ichchatam iho pahahuta bhagavan mrityu samitra karmani. Oh, Sudha Goswami, there are those amongst men who desire freedom from death and get eternal life. Okay. They escape the slaughtering process by calling the controller of death Yamaraj. Okay, so these are another set of devotees, another set of people. They don't want to practice devotion. They want to find a shortcut route. Oh, if I do worship Yamaraj, if I tell him, don't punish me, don't take me, then I escape death. Shortcuts. Can we do that? Huh? So, let's read this purport. Can someone read this purport? Hare Krishna?
Purport. The living entity, as he develops from lower animal life to a higher human being and gradually to higher intelligence, becomes anxious to get free from the clutches of death. Modern scientists try to avoid death by physiochemical advancement of knowledge, but alas, the controller of death, Yamaraja, is so cruel that he does not spare even the very life of the scientist himself. The scientist who puts forward the theory of stopping death by advancement of scientific knowledge becomes himself a victim of death when he is called by Yamaraja. What to speak of stopping death? No one can enhance the short period of life even by a fraction of a moment. The only hope of suspending the cruel slaughtering process of Yamaraja is to call him to hear and chant the holy name of the Lord. Yamaraja is a great devotee of the Lord, and he likes to be invited to kirtans and sacrifices by the pure devotees who are constantly engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, the great sages, headed by Saunaka and others, invited Yamaraja to attend the sacrifice performed at Naimisharanya. This was good for those who did not want to die.
Okay. So this is the reason why our lot of speakers in ISKCON, they say, why will people not die in a Srimad Bhagavatam class? Because Yamaraja is busy hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So he will not come to kill us. Now, the Naimisha Rishi is also doing the same thing. What did they do? They invited Yamaraj to attend the sacrifice. They are doing the big sacrifice there, right? Attend the sacrifice, and Yamaraj is busy, and then people don't want to die. Right? So, if someone is always in Krishna conscious, always chanting the holy name, always remembering the holy name, always hearing the holy name, right? For him, the Yamaraja doesn't come. Now, what is the meaning of Yamaraja comes or doesn't? That means the devotee won't die. No, the devotee just leaves his gross body. He doesn't go to the planet of Yama, but he goes to the planet of Vaikuntha. That's the destination of devotee. So, devotees also leave their bodies, but they don't go into the cycle of birth and death, but instead they reach the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That's the point to understand here. Okay? Okay, so now today we have to stop because I need to go to the temple. I have some service in the morning. So it's 7 o'clock, so we'll stop here today. But we'll spend about 5-10 minutes for question and answers so that we are clear when we walk out of this place. And we'll continue from next Saturday, the 8th sloka onwards. Okay? Yes. Question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, after hearing to all these verses and very nice lecture, Prabhu, One question rises in my mind, Prabhu. What was the necessity of Kali Yuga, Prabhu? Because all the people in Kali Yuga are in confrontation, quarreling, misunderstanding, and all kinds, and they are in hellish activities. And we could have had, Lord could have given one more Satya Yuga, no, Prabhu. That thing. Is it because to liberate all the conditioned souls who follow the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu en masse? Is it like that? How should I understand, Prabhu?
Maybe we'll take your petition to the Lord. Lord, change this Chaturvyuha to 3 yugas, and that way people will be happy. Don't create Kali Yuga at all. Okay, so now let's look at process of creation. Prabhuji, why does a living entity come to the material world? What are the reasons?
Because of his past deeds, Prabhu.
No. Why does a living entity come to the material world?
Because he wants to
Prabhuji.
enjoy himself.
He wants to enjoy. He wants to enjoy himself. He wants to master the material world, and he wants to control. Now look at control, enjoy, master. These are all qualities of Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? Krishna. So the living entity is directly competing with the Lord. I'm also like you. I'm also equivalent to you. Okay, so that's why he is here. Now, in Satyuga, the level of surrender, the level of devotion was highest. Okay? The living entities at that time, the practice of devotion was easier. I would not say easier, I would say more conducive. And if you take Kali Yuga, it's very contrasting. The practice of devotion is not that conducive in Kali Yuga compared to Satyuga. Okay, so now what will be the nature of people between Satyuga and Kali Yuga? Nature of people in Satyuga are people who are sattvic, who are almost there for devotion. They'll practice, they'll go back home, back to God. Okay, and proportionally it comes down. When it comes to Kali Yuga, who are these people? Who are the grossest of the people who want to control, competitors of the Lord, enjoy for themselves, do all those things. The final residue of the leftovers of all the liberated souls. That is there in Kali Yuga. So, Krishna wants to give that experience to the people in Kali Yuga. What? Okay, enjoy. Forget me to the most. You control how much ever you want, others or people or situations or material energy, whatever you want to think, control, you control. The forgetfulness of mind will increase to the maximum. That's what he wanted. So I give you that. So he did not create Kali Yuga by his will. He created Kali Yuga by our will. That's the point.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
But he comes down also, no, Prabhu?
Yeah, because he is your father, right? Your father is always merciful towards you. He loves you. He wants to take care of you. So, even though you are asking all these things out of ignorance, but he's so compassionate on you, he comes himself, he sends the holy name, he sends the Vedic books, he sends acharyas, great devotees, Archa Vigraha, everything he sends to see somewhere if there is a hope for you to realize that you're mistaken and come back home. That's all. That's his causeless mercy.
But the people are very mean, no, Prabhu. See, once again, one more virus is coming that I don't know whether it is true or AI generated news or something. I don't know, Prabhu.
Anyway, we'll not worry about that. Life is always like that. Pandemic after pandemic, war after war, disease after disease, difficulties after difficulties. So why worry about it? It will be part of life.
Yes.
But take shelter of the Lord. Nothing will worry you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Any other thoughts, questions? Today everyone is silent. No questions. All clear.
Not clear, Prabhu. This is the deep insight. When you get into, you can't express even your own doubts. The doubts are manifesting. in such a way that you cannot put them in sequence also. So
Correct.
much of confusion, so much of thing. And if you look at the essence of the slokas, whatever we have just
Right.
attended in this class, the Kali started already happening. It's now Kali's effect. Like now Sudras are given reservations and they are ruling actually. And these slaughterhouses, no question of curtailing this at this point of time. Everyone is competing to get into that mode.
Yes. Prabhu, into your point, go back to post-independence. Okay.
Yes,
So if you see immediately after independence, a cabinet was formed and many bureaucrats took key positions like ambassador, secretariat, like that many key positions they took. And I was reading through the statistics, you know the brilliance? At that time, more than 70-80% were Iyengars and Brahmanas in that position. Do you know that?
yes, that's true.
Many people, Prabhu, even if you look at our ambassadors and finance ministers and many ministers, they were all taken by such positions. Now you see, hardly such quality people are there in those cabinets.
And on the top of it, our politicians keep trying to give the positions to the people as per their caste census now.
Yeah. Now look at it. Who's our president?
Yeah.
Though she's the highest state honor, I don't want to comment, but everything what we spoke, you just apply. Who's our president? Apply.
Yeah.
That's it. You have an answer.
So this is what is going to, I mean, this is the beginning of Kali itself. Kali
So
itself,
strong.
it is so much. And how it manifests, we don't know.
Yeah.
That is quite scaring.
My Guru Maharaj, when he talks about Kali Yuga, he cries. He's in tears. He said, "Oh God, I don't even imagine being there at the time."
Yes.
Like, okay.
It to be born, no, Prabhu.
No, he's already born now. We said no, he's born moment the Kurukshetra war ended. Around that time, he was born. And he exercised his powers once Krishna left the world. And now he's growing. Now he is curtailed of his growth by Chaitanya Prabhu's mercy. Now, once the Chaitanya Prabhu's mercy, there's a time period. Once that gets over, he'll become super strong, and that's it. You just can't live in this world.
Prabhu, few years back, I started reading Bhagavatam.
Fantastic.
With the influence of my Mataji wife.
Okay, very good.
After reading few pages, I decided not to read further because it was such a scaring area we are getting into. I don't want to listen or understand that also. I stopped after that. Now I am getting exposed now a little bit. But even then, that's what it's a bit scary situation.
No, why scared? Krishna says, when I am there,
yeah.
No, why worry?
No, that is the thing. I mean, it should sink into us.
The knowledge to take us shelter. We are getting knowledge, but not taking shelter. That's the issue.
No, the issue is because to get his shelter, we need to have a conviction of faith. And that is not coming easily. One has to really.
Why we are having satsang? That's why we're having all these classes. That's why chanting. So many processes have been evolved. That's why. So you have to begin somewhere, right?
Correct.
You go to a doctor that for your ill health, what our doctor says, you're blindly ready to follow, even though he's not your relative, he's not your friend, he's not known person. Correct?
Yes.
When you're able to put so much of faith on a person who's not known to you, no details about him, why you can't put the faith on the scriptures that has revealed so much of truth to us?
That is maybe because of the scriptures reading and its thing is not coming as academically as part of our education. This is to be taught by external source. But external source is coming at a very late age.
No, it was there. Somehow you did not get into the picture. But when the British rule happened, you know what they did? The first thing they did was they killed our self-confidence. That's what the British did. They killed our self-confidence. Our country was called the Great Bharat. They just changed the name to India. What does India mean? India means nothing. Right? India means nothing. So they gave a word, so it means nothing, and then they changed the landscape of this country. How did they break the confidence? They systematically broke down the Vedic cultural Gurukul system of learning. That's what was predominantly present. And they introduced university education. And this university education, Prabhupada comments that they don't talk about the soul. They don't talk about the life, afterlife, the karma, nothing they talk about. And they only talk about this modern scientific Sankhya philosophy, physics, chemistry, mathematics. This is what they use. This is how they broke. The Britishers broke our backbone.
This is what Lord Macaulay is planning. I think in 200 years he wanted to finish off the entire our Hindu culture, Sanatana culture, by this kind of education, and we are all falling for it, and it is encouraging.
But Sanatan means it's also eternality, so it cannot be vanquished. You can subside it, but it cannot be vanquished. So it will again manifest.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you so much for wonderful morning association with all of you. Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Krapa Sindhu Vyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Dandavad pranam,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad pranam.
Thank you.
Dandavad pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna. Okay, brilliant.